Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. In this video, I will be discussing about first database table creation, how to create a table inside database. The second one, how to insert data inside the table. The third one, how to read the data from the table. The fourth one, how to update the data inside table. And the last one, how to delete the data from a table. So first, let us get started with creation of a table. How can we create a table inside our database? As we have in last video, I have explained how to create a database called public university. So this video is coming after that. Means that this video thinks that we have already created a database and now we want to create a table inside that database. So let's get started how we are going to do this one. The first step is we have to connect to the database. So for connection, the first thing that we need to import MySQL connector import. We need one function called connect, and also we need a class called error. So this one I will be using for exception handling. The first one I'm using exception handling because sometimes if there is possibility that MySQL database be off or it be not on, so that's why it will crash my application. I want prevent this one. I want to prevent the exception, or I want to handle the exception. That's why I will be writing my connect code inside try block. So I will just name my database connectivity as a DB connection. Then I will be using function connect. You know that function connect is just to connect this Python application that I have with MySQL database. And the first thing that it needs four parameters. The first one is host. It is saying where my database is hosted. I'm saying that my database hosted in localhost. And the second thing that it will ask is about user. Who is the user of my database? I will say the user is called root. The third parameter that it needs is the password. What is the password of my database? I will say I do not have any password. So that's why I will just make it empty. And the fourth one, it will ask me the database name, which database you want to connect with. So since last class, the database that we have created, its name was public university, public university. So that's why I want to connect with this database. That's why I have given the name of database directly. So this was the four parameters that I have already explained. Let's go to the inside public university. So this is MySQL, PHP MyAdmin, and this is the university, the database that I want to connect here. Let's go and check. This is public university. See, it's only a database. It does not have any table inside it. See, so I want to connect with this database. And after connecting to the database, if this is successfully connected, next we need to get a cursor object. So let's see how to get a cursor object. We know that we will say db cursor. You know that cursor object is used for execution of our commands. If we want to execute our command, we need db cursor or database cursor. So I will say for my db connection, I need a cursor. That's it. And after this one, I will just write my except block. I will say if this error is happening, its name is e, just print the error. That's it. Print e. After this, we will not be using this one. So this is I have connected to my database, SQL database, and then I have created cursor object. Now let's prepare our SQL. So how can we prepare our SQL? First, I need to run this one. So it is successfully running because it's not giving any error to us. Now let's go for the another option, which is nothing but preparing my SQL query. I will say my SQL query is equal to, so I want to create a table. So for creation of a table, I will have to create table. I will put the name of my table as a student. I will create table student, and then what are the attributes, or just what are the attributes of this table. The first one will be id, and the data type for id will be integer, and I would like this one to be primary key. Primary key means the id will not be repeated for three student. And yes, and the second parameter that I need is nothing but name, and I want the name to be varchar, and the name that it can be 330 character. So that's it. Since I want as simple as it is possible my table to be, you can add any number of attributes you want. For example, you can add folder name, you can add age, you can add address, whatever it is. But since I want the lesson to be as simple as it is possible, I have only put two attributes in my query. After preparing the query, I need to execute this query. Who is responsible for execution of the query? DB cursor. DB cursor, or my cursor that I have created, is responsible to execute my query. I will just execute it, and then I will give the SQL query that I have just prepared it. So now if I execute and run this query, let us go and check. So now it is executed and run. Let's go and check inside database whether such kind of table is created or not. Let us come here and refresh the table. Yeah, see, there is a table called the student is created. If you go inside this table, we can see its structure, whether it has ID and name or not. Yes, see, it has ID and name. If we want to be more we want to see its structure, we will come here. Let us see. Yes, see, ID is primary key, it is data type is integer, name is varchar 30. So this is this exact thing that we want, and we have created using this one. And the last two steps are required for closing the cursor and the connection. So that's something that no, we do not need. If you want only create a table, then you have to close the cursor and close the connection. But we want to do other operations also. So this one we will be doing at the last step. Now let's go for the second option, which is nothing but inserting a data inside this table. Now our table is created, how we want to insert data inside it. For this one also, we need to first connect to MySQL database. Our MySQL database is already connected. Get a cursor object, we have already created a cursor object. Now we need to prepare SQL query. Since this SQL query is different from the above, now we need to create or prepare our SQL query. See, when we want to insert data, we can have two types of insertion. Sometimes we are inserting only one data, so we can insert only one data. One data means data for only one student. So how we will do it? Our SQL query will be SQL query will be equal. So how we will insert? We will say insert into. We will give the name, table name, student, and then what do you want to insert? I want to insert ID and name. And let us give the values. We will give the value. Since ID is primary key or integer, so we will give 1, and then the name is varchar, so we will give a name of person Ali. So this will be the data that I will be inserting. So this is the data only for one student. Now after that, I need to execute the query. Who is responsible for this query execution? Cursor, and db cursor dot execute. So let us execute this one, and then I will give my SQL query to execute this one. And after executing the query, I need to commit the change. This is so much important. I can commit using db connection. If I'm not committing, the change will not come inside table. And after that, we will be having closing the cursor and connection that we will not be doing just now. Let's run it and check. Since there is no error, I'm sure the data is inserted. For being sure, let's go and check it inside database whether data is inserted or not. So just let me come back. This is my public university, and this inside this public university there is a table called student. And now if I check it properly, there are this ID number 1 and name Ali is inserted inside my table. The second type of operation that we can have is inserting multiple data. Inserting multiple data means the data for multiple students. For this one, I have written note also here. If you want to insert multiple data, then you can use execute many. So first we need to prepare our data. For example, our data will be equal to, so we will have a list of data. For example, the ID of second student is 2, the name of second student is Ahmad. For example, there is a third student, for it is his ID is 3 and his name is Karim. Yes, there is a fourth student, for example, his ID is 4 and his name is Ajmal. There is number 5 student, his ID is 5 and his name is, for example, Sherzad. So there are the data that I want to insert them at once. So there is multiple data and I want to insert them at once. So let's see how it is possible. So first we will do the same thing. We will prepare our query with some little bit differences. So this is my query, but it will be different. So what is the difference? I will not give the values. I will just give percentage is, and here also I will give percentage s. What does it mean? It means that this is the placeholder. I want to insert ID and name, but now I'm not giving data directly. Later on, I will be providing ID also and name also. So that's why this is a placeholder. It is called placeholder. Now, whenever I want to run my command, so how will I be running? I will be using db. Then I will be using cursor dot execute. So execute manually. Since I want to execute multiple, or I want to run multiple data, then the first thing I need to have is my SQL query, and then I need to give my data. And after this one, I need to commit. So this is something that's important. I need to commit, since if I run now this cell, this above data also will be run. So I will just get it Control X, and I will just create a new cell and run my data here, since I do not want above data to run it again. So let us run it and check. Since I'm not getting an error, I'm sure that all this data are inserted. For being sure, let's go and check the database. I want to refresh the database. So inside browse. Yeah, see, let me check. Yes, see, all the data that I wanted, Ahmad, Karim, Ajmal, and Sherzad are inserted. So that's the beauty, that we can insert multiple data at once. Now let's go for the third operation, which is reading from database. If you want to read from database, what are the operations that are required? So for reading inside database, we need to connect to MySQL database, that we have already done it. Get a cursor object, that we have already done it. Prepare the SQL query. So we will start from here. So we will say MySQL query will be select, as you know, select all. So we can select only IDs, we can select only name, or we can select all from table called student. Select all from table student. So this is my query. Now I need to run my query, execute the query. That's so much important. For execution, I always need db cursor dot execute. So my db cursor always is responsible for executing my query. I will give the query, and then after this one, after I'm executing, I'm fetching the result. For fetching the result, I have three ways. I can only fetch one data, since I have here the data for 5 students. So what it will do, this command will bring all the data. Fetch one will take only one data. So for example, it will take only ID1 and Ali one data. Fetch all will take all the data. And fetch many data need as data I'm saying. For example, I have 100 data and I'm writing here 10. It will only take 10 data. But now, since I have 5 data and it's small, I will just use fetch all. So execute, and then a result, say I will say my records or nothing, but I will just say db cursor dot fetch all. So I will be using fetch all, and this is nothing but fetching the result. I'm getting all the result and I'm storing it inside records. After that, we need to process the result. Process means what? I want to print all the result. Since it's not one result, there is multiple result. That's why I will be using for loop. I will just say for record, and this is variable. Since I have put it this one records, and I want to print one by one, I'm just putting it single for record inside records. Inside records, just I want to print the record. That's it. So now let's get and run it. See, it is just bringing all the data to me. If I wanted to fetch one, it was bringing only one data. If I wanted to fetch many and I wanted to read in three, it was only bringing me three data. Since I have used fetch all, it brings all the data to me. So this was the third operation. Let's go for the fourth operation, update. As you know, sometimes we need to update some of the things. For example, here I want to update this Sherzad to Sayyid Sherzad. For example, Sayyid is missed with me. So let us update this one, how it is going to possible to be done. So for updating also, we need first connect to MySQL database. I have already done it. Get cursor objects, and this is responsible for execution of our command. I have already done it. Prepare the SQL query. Let's go and prepare my SQL query. I will just say SQL query is nothing but I will just say update Then I will give the name of table, update table student, and then I will say set name equal to, for example, Sayed share sort. And then later on, if I do it like this, it will update all my names. I need to give where condition for which person you want to update like this. Where ID is equal to 5. See here, I wanted to update for this person, so his ID is 5. Where ID is equal to 5. So this is my SQL query. I have prepared it already. And after that, after preparing the SQL query, I need to execute the SQL query. This is another important point. For execution, always I need db cursor dot execute, and then I will give my SQL query. That's it. And after that, I need to commit the change. I can commit using db connection. Commit is important for all the data. For example, for inserting, updating. Let's get. It's since it's run, I have not given any error. Let's go and check whether the change has come or not. So how can what I let me just refresh the table. See, it is coming signature. That means it is updated. And the last one, or the last operation that we need is nothing but delete operation. You know that, for example, I want to delete this Ajmal. So how will I be doing this one? First, I need to connect to the database. That's what it's already done. It get a cursor object already done. Prepare the SQL. So I will say my SQL query will be nothing but delete from table student. So where ID is equal to 4. So I will delete only the student with ID number 4. After that, I need to execute the query. You know that db cursor is always responsible for executing my query. Then I will say db SQL query. And after that, I need to commit the change. And committing is already done using db connection. So I will be commit the change, and since this is my last operation, I will be closing the cursor and connection, both of them. So first I will be closing the cursor. I will say db cursor dot close. Since this is my last operation, always it's a good idea when you have this is your last operation, you have to close your cursor and also you have to close your connection. So let us get. So there is an error. See here, I have written execute is missing. I have written this one db cursor wrong. So I need to write like this db cursor. So now this is was the error. I had written db cursor wrong, and this one also spelling was wrong. So now let's go and check whether this student is deleted or not. See now. The student with ID number 4 is already deleted with his name was Ashwin. So this was the last topic that we were discussing with CRUD operation and database, MySQL database connectivity. So if you liked the video, please comment, like, and subscribe the channel. Thanks for watching.